What are humans if we don't have Earth around us? I mean, we're part of it. There's nothing like this on Mars. This is yeah. I mean, we're in a magical place, and we're part of it. We're not apart from it. And I think that's where humans really kind of got off on the wrong track. And time's running out.
Tomorrow, if you eat. Tomorrow, if you breathe. The land is why you're there. It's what is the foundation for who we are. We need to join forces with others to accomplish a common goal. It's to save the land and to conserve nature.
Foothills Conservancy of North Carolina is a 501c3 nonprofit land trust, and our service area includes 8 counties in the western part of North Carolina, from the Blue Ridge Escarpment east into the foothills of the Blue Ridge and continuing on to the part of the western Piedmont. Depending on where you are in our vast nation, the concept of landscape scale conservation takes on a different meaning. In the western United States, hundreds of thousands of acres of land is more readily available for conservation than it is in the eastern US. We tend to have smaller tracts of land, more fragmented ownership in this region of the country, and so it takes quite a bit of effort to piece together and assemble large landscapes and conservation corridors. But the impact of preserving landscapes is greater when you can assemble large tracts of land. That's really the idea with Hickory Nut Mountain. This project area, Hickory Nut Mountain, is 12,000 acres in size, and to put that in context, the island of Manhattan is 14,000 acres. And of course, unbroken forests, headwater streams, dozens and dozens of natural community types here, multiple rare and threatened species. Yeah, our land trust has negotiated a purchase contract for this 12,000 acre landscape, which gives us a few years to raise the funding to purchase this land and place it in permanent conservation. We have to just remain patient and at the same time proceed with fundraising strategy and courses. And so that's really how this conservation work is done. And by and large, over the history of our organization, it has led to phenomenal outcomes.
This is a real kind of taking me back in time. This was the first publication, I'm almost certain, of the Conservancy back when we were South Mountains Coalition. This is like an archaeological dig. South Mountains Tract Preserved. We had a exhibition, I think at Discovery Place in Charlotte, to try to build understanding and support from people in the Charlotte area for the South Mountains and the Rollins Tract. To me, the South Mountains represented an opportunity to create an island in the middle of this growing development coming into North Carolina.
Creation of the South Mountain Game Lands is the origination story for Foothills Conservancy of North Carolina. Small grassroots effort by concerned citizens at the time who were worried about a large tract of land in the South Mountains, right in the core of the South Mountains, being logged and subdivided and developed. So they banded together.
The Rollins Tract down on the south side of the South Mountains was going to be sold. There were about 17,000 acres. You've got this abundance of natural beauty and fauna and flora that doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. So if it were gone, that would be a tragedy.
The Rollins Tract was on the market and it was imminent that it was going to be sold. We knew we were aiming for probably something close to $14 million that we were going to have to raise. We got our first little tiny $25,000 grant. Marsha Riddle wrote that grant. We were beginning to piece it together.
The organization brought together many like minds, and out of those, each of us had a gift that we were willing to give, share, commit to the organization itself for its future and success. And we were able to put together the funds to be able to buy that tract of land.
They were ultimately successful in protecting almost 18,000 acres of land that became publicly owned, publicly accessible land. And that's such an important and meaningful first project for any land trust, but it really did set the stage for the future of our organization.
So it all started from an interest in one county, one area, and within, I guess, 2 years, just discovered that we can't just be interested in the foothills in the area for South Mountains. We've got to expand our area of interest.
We knew that there was more work to be done. We made the decision to change the name and make a commitment to actually functioning as a land trust. That means you're taking on perpetual responsibilities. You know, if you think out at least 7 generations about the impact of your own actions and what's going to last and what's important, whether it's you care about your children or your grandchildren or great-grandchildren, or maybe you don't have children, but you just care about humanity. Land trusts have to think like that.
That first project really kind of set the stage for the trajectory of our land trust. As of 2025, Foothills Conservancy's 30th anniversary as a land trust, we've permanently protected over 71,500 acres of land in our 8-county service area. That represents about 25% of all conserved land in our service region. We're not just locking land down so that people can't access it. We're oftentimes doing the exact opposite, preserving it so that people can enjoy it.
Slow down, young. Run you off. See it, kid? It's not ripe, though. It don't sound good yet. There's a little one. See that little watermelon? There's another one right there. About 10 more days we're eating watermelon. Does it sound good? Yeah. Let's go check the honeybees. You want to check the honeybees? All right. Okay. It's so challenging to be profitable farming, especially on a small scale, right? So, like, I'm profitable farming, but I'm farming 1,200 acres and I got 40-something landlords that I rent land from. You know, if I had to back up and make a living on just this, 300 acres, probably couldn't do it, We grow corn, we grow grain sorghum, soybeans. About half our acres are hay production. And then we've got the dairy operation. And putting a conservation easement on it is definitely for the next generation. Definite. Somebody will always actively farm this. If she doesn't want to, then the trust will instruct whoever the trustee is to lease it to a farmer to maintain. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, it'll always be actively farmed. So I hope she's the one doing it. I really do.
So typically when people think of conservation, they think of forests, they think of mountains, they think of stream areas, but farmland preservation has also become a huge component of conservation in the area. As you can see all around us, this is still green space, a place where water cycling can happen, habitat can happen, and all of the other values that we typically would see with a forest. So farmland is equally as important to protect as a forest.
I mean, every farmer needs to do it, right? But it's a false hope to think that 10 farms in the next 5 years in this county could be conserved. You know what I mean? And the thing is, like, in 20 years, it won't matter. In 20 years, it's too late. In 30 years, there ain't gonna be no more land to protect except for mountaintops. But down here, you know what I mean? Down here, there won't be no more. So they need to do something right now, or, put up or shut up, one of the two.
Life itself is a challenge. Future farmers have so many choices. And a person like me, I suppose I've kind of lived in the country all my life. At least I've been where we've had green grass. Green grass.
I've been here just about 12 years, and in that time, the Grandfather Ranger District has gone from 185,000 acres to over 200,000 acres. And that's some really important key public access points, some key water sources. And the lion's share of those acquisitions, the lion's share of all of that has been with the Foothills Conservancy. Catawba Falls and the Catawba River are the most visited site on the Grandfather Ranger District. So they're really, really important to people coming to visit the forest. But the falls and Catawba River themselves are also really important to our communities, and specifically in communities like Old Fort, where it's an economic driver. You know, a lot of the restaurants, like we're going by Deb's Diner when it was Mustard's Last Stand, those are tied to people coming out to Catawba Falls. But then you have deeper connections too, and some of our partners in Old Fort have told stories about the foundation of their churches literally being made with stones from the Catawba River. These connections to these landscapes, to these places, to these waterways and these rivers, it's not just a water place or a place to go fishing or a waterfall. It's embedded in a part of all those communities.
Conservation is not done by a single individual. It is not done by a single entity. It requires many partnerships.
Each one of these big projects has just multiple layers of people involved, but at the base of it all is community. And people in the community who care enough to really fight for the land and fight for public access.
Foothills has been incredibly successful. They're a part of these communities. They genuinely have a really good understanding of what's important and what's valuable to the community. And again, public access to a place like Catawba Falls is a shining example of that. This is the headwaters of the Catawba River. Over 4 million people are relying on the water that's coming out of here. Countless communities downstream are relying on the water that's coming out of here. Foothills is also a strong partner in a lot of our resource management. The forests that people are coming into are working forests. So these forests are being managed for a whole host of different resources. You know, some of it's for public access, some of it's for clean water.
The land stewardship side of our work is equally as important as protecting the property initially. Our organization owns almost 11,000 acres of land, and we're responsible for stewardship and management on those properties, and our goal is to be an exemplary land steward.
When people are coming to the National Forest and seeing working lands, they should be seeing change, right? So you should be seeing seasonal changes, you should be seeing changes in the landscape, and some of those changes are just simple ecological changes.
It's for the health and longevity of the resources that are protected so that those natural resources are thriving.
So if you look closely, there's a little patch right here, you can see. There are some that have yet to open up, these ones that are closed here, and there's some that have opened up. And if you look close enough, you can see where this species gets its common name, the bird's nest fungi. This will lay the foundation and the groundwork for the next plant community that will grow here. Really what it is representing is the management that's occurring out here. So this was formerly a pine plantation, but Foothills has come in and as part of their forestry program is thinning out and restoring some of this forest land. Foothills is kind of laying the groundwork and creating space for all these little ecosystem interactions at a grander scale. So people to come and learn, people to come and disperse, experience agriculture, experience forestry, experience conservation, and be connected to it, which is probably one of the most important things that our community lacks is connection with the environment.
Oak Hill Community Park and Forest really demonstrates all of the programmatic areas that our land trust is working on, from permanent land protection with conservation easements to our stewardship work and land management work, community agriculture program, where we have partnered with a local Hmong family to cultivate unique crops on the property.
You know, Hmong people have always been visible in western part of North Carolina. The Green Mountains have represented from their home country, and that's why we moved it to this area. And so just knowing that Foothills is very open to include a group of folks that are, good at what they're doing, such as farming, and finding space for them to do that and give them the resources. I think every time when I go to Foothills, I think I'm very proud of that park, just so that I know there's heritage. There's my heritage. There's people that look like me that are out there being represented.
Now it's just a flourishing parcel of land where partnerships that we had no idea would happen 5 years ago when we bought the land have developed. Such an amazing place, a huge community asset for this region.
There's always been an outdoor story behind some of the folklores or mythologies in the Hmong community. My mom and dad they would take their hand up and they would pray to the tree. So I've seen that kind of thing growing up. And I think they've slowly made that connection with Oak Hill Park.
They took something that had been forgotten about and they reminded people why it mattered. And they did so by inviting people into it and working to make it better. And so I think while I am hopeful that there are future generations inspired by ecology and by land conservation, I think it's incumbent upon this generation now to steward that next generation as much as we possibly can. Because as we move into a future where we become more and more disconnected from nature, groups like Foothills Conservancy will be fighting seemingly an uphill battle. Unless we can create more spaces like this and bring more people into them and get more children to stare down at a flower and then notice the bug that's inside of it. Those are the types of moments that live well beyond the immediate time frame.
What we need to do after Pauline is have the same type of projects.
I guess it's just showing this.
So, this is the track that we crossed over that we don't.
Which is a public road. Right. The peak of the mountain is here on this section. So.
The high point that gives us that awesome overlook of the Black Mountains going this way, and our Catawba Headwaters Preserve and the Old Fort.
This corridor really represents 30 years of conservation work, kind of culminating at this point with the Hickory Nut Mountain Project. It is the largest tract of land in the western 2/3 of North Carolina. And it is the crown jewel, because if we're able to turn that land into permanently conserved land, we're looking at a landscape scale conservation corridor of over 80,000 acres of land, connected, forested properties, and it's just been a tremendous effort over decades.
This corridor is in the South Mountains, which is a low-lying elevation portion of the Blue Ridge Mountains. And as the climate warms up, the species that needed to be a little bit colder will be able to travel up this corridor into the higher elevation Blue Ridge. So this is a hugely important corridor to protect for the future of biodiversity in this entire region.
We all care about where we came from. We care about our past. A lot of us care about our genealogy and where our families immigrated from. Well, that cultural heritage is important to us. I would argue that our natural heritage is equally as important. And so where we came from as a place helps shape who we are as a people.
Our goal as a land trust is to protect places that are special to people in our region. That's really what it comes down to, and we need these lands to persist as a society into the future.
The next 30 years, there will be more challenges than ever before. in conservation. Things need to be protected. History is important. Where we come from makes a difference. We are not just created in our own image. We are that culmination of all the things in the past, and we are the dream for the future.